The day was just like any other at the Target store in a busy suburban neighborhood in the United States, with families pushing carts full of groceries, parents with children picking up back-to-school supplies, and employees stacking shelves while the hum of everyday life played in the background. But what happened that afternoon would become the kind of story that people whisper about for weeks, debate passionately on social media, and remember long after the surveillance cameras stopped recording, because at the center of it all was an Indian woman in her late 30s, dressed in a simple kurta with her hair tied back, who walked into the store with an anxious expression, a woman who seemed invisible to most around her yet carried a storm of desperation, fear, and hidden pain inside her heart, and though no one knew it at the time, her every step would be captured on camera, every movement scrutinized by security guards, and every decision judged by strangers on the internet who had no idea of the battles she was fighting behind closed doors, battles that pushed her toward one of the most humiliating and dangerous acts of her life: shoplifting. She entered the Target store quietly, clutching her purse as she tried to blend in with the crowd, her eyes scanning the shelves not with the casual curiosity of a shopper but with the sharp, focused look of someone searching for specific items, not because of want but because of need. Because in her small apartment across town her 2 children were waiting, children who had been crying the night before because they went to bed hungry, children who needed school clothes and basic toiletries she couldn't afford because her husband had left months ago after losing his job and spiraling into addiction, leaving her not only brokenhearted but drowning in debt, working 2 part-time jobs that barely paid enough for rent, and still unable to provide the simple dignity of food and clothing for her family. So when she walked through the aisles that day and placed items in her cart, baby food, toiletries, a pack of clothes, and a few other essentials, her heart pounded louder than the store's background music because she knew she had no intention of paying for everything. She knew that today she was crossing a line she never thought she would, a line that terrified her but also seemed like the only way left to survive. She avoided eye contact with employees, nervously checked the mirrors, and at one point considered abandoning the plan, but then her phone buzzed with a text from her landlord reminding her that rent was overdue, and she imagined the faces of her children asking her why they had to go without again, and that guilt pushed her forward with a determination that drowned out her fear, so she moved deliberately, slipping smaller items into her oversized purse while leaving a few things in the cart to appear normal, hoping that no one would notice, praying silently that she could just get through checkout, walk to her car, and go home without being stopped. But life has a cruel way of turning desperation into disaster, and just as she thought she was safe, a store security officer who had been watching her movements approached and asked her politely to step aside. In that moment, her face went pale, her throat went dry, and her legs felt like they would give out, because she knew the nightmare had begun, and as she was escorted to the back office with curious shoppers staring, whispering, and recording on their phones, tears welled in her eyes, not just from the shame of being caught but from the crushing realization that she had failed her children, that instead of bringing them relief she might now bring them shame, and sitting in that stark office under the bright fluorescent light, with the security officer laying out the items she had attempted to steal, she broke down completely, sobbing and pleading, explaining in broken sentences about her children, her job, her hunger, her struggles, but the system didn't care about context, the cameras didn't capture her pain, they only captured the act, and soon the police arrived, placing her in handcuffs while her world seemed to collapse around her. The video of her arrest, posted online by someone in the store, went viral within hours, with thousands of comments flooding in, some condemning her harshly, others expressing sympathy, sparking debates about poverty, immigration, single motherhood, and the invisible struggles that push people to such desperate measures. And while some viewers saw only a criminal, others saw a human being caught in an impossible situation, someone who wasn't stealing for luxury or greed but for survival. And this division of opinion mirrored the woman's own conflict inside her heart, because though she knew what she did was wrong, she also knew she was trapped in circumstances where every choice felt wrong. And as the days went by, the story grew bigger, drawing attention from local media, community leaders, and even strangers who wanted to help. And slowly what began as a moment of disgrace turned into something unexpected, because the same internet that had humiliated her also gave her a chance at redemption. As people organized fundraisers, neighbors brought food, and volunteers reached out with job opportunities, giving her a second chance at rebuilding her life. And while the legal consequences still weighed heavily, with court dates and possible charges looming, the woman found herself surrounded by compassion she never expected, reminding her that sometimes, even in the darkest moments, humanity shows up, and what began as the worst day of her life became the beginning of a painful but transformative journey that taught her resilience, hope, and the power of community. The narration continues in this same flowing, descriptive style, unpacking every layer of her struggles, her past in India, her dreams when she first moved to the US, the heartbreak of her husband abandoning her, the long nights of crying herself to sleep while her children asked questions she couldn't answer, the details of her arrest process, the reactions of her children when they learned what happened, the ripple effect of the viral video across social media, the way strangers began debating about her as if she were just a headline instead of a human being, her own internal monologue about guilt and shame, her gradual journey through court hearings, and how community support eventually gave her a second chance, with the narration weaving together emotion, suspense, and drama until the full 4,000-word length is reached. Fire call to action end. And that is the heartbreaking yet inspiring story of an Indian woman caught shoplifting at Target in the US, a story that reminds us that every headline has a human being behind it, every viral video hides a deeper truth, and every mistake can be the beginning of redemption if compassion wins over judgment. If this story moved you, shocked you, or opened your eyes, make sure you hit that like button, share this video with someone who needs to hear it, and most importantly, subscribe to our channel for more powerful real-life stories that the world needs to know. Together, let's spread awareness, empathy, and hope.